Okay, we're going to just do a little bit on topic 4, one day of it. It's not particularly hard, and we are just going to do a lot of this together. I'm not going to test you on it even. So that doesn't mean you don't need to listen right now, although. Let me zoom this in just a little bit. So in topic 1 and 2, we were the whole time in the rational numbers. Everything was either a whole number, a integer, a positive or negative whole number, or a rational number, any number that could be expressed as A over B. We are now going to move into these numbers that are irrational. Irrational means never ends and never repeats. So when we look at the decimal of the square root of 8 on a calculator, so here's my square root of 8. You will see that the calculator cuts it off eventually, but that number actually goes on forever and ever and ever, just like pi does. Irrational, if some person's being irrational, they're kind of being crazy, and they may talk on and on and on and on. So irrational are the numbers that cannot be expressed as fractions. So this right here, we're going to skip for right now. This table of square roots, I've made kids copy this into their notebooks for years. It's going to take you a few minutes. Yes, 10 minutes probably, not just a few, but it's important. So on our warm up today, we started talking about squares and square roots. So the opposite of squaring is square rooting, just like the opposite of adding is subtracting, opposite of multiplying is dividing. So 1 times 1 is 1, 2 times 2 is 4, 3 times 3 is 9. So 4 times 4 is 16, 5 times 5 is 25, going all the way down. And if you need to, after you've done some on your own, you can pause the video and copy off of mine. This chart will just kind of help us be able to talk about estimating square roots, which is really a much bigger deal than just finding the square roots. Pause the video if you would like. Okay, I'm going to go over here and start actually redoing these problems again. So the square root of 49, just look back at your reference sheet or think what times itself gets you 49, and that would be 7. And then what gets us 225? What times itself? What times itself? And 225 shows on my chart way down here. It's 15 times 15. And then when it gives it to you as a fraction, sometimes they'll be written like this. 25 over 81 is one big fraction. Just break it up into 2 smaller ones. You'll see these on the homework set. Oh, you don't have a homework set on this. You won't see it on the homework set. So the square root of 25 is 5. The square root of 81 is 9. That's it. Done. Circle your answer. So straight square roots are pretty straightforward. Next, it moves on to stating which 2 whole numbers it's between. So if we look on our number line, if we look at the chart, the square root of 40 is not on here. So the square root of 40 would be somewhere in between here. So the square root of 36 is 6, and the square root of 49 is 7. So I'm kind of thinking about where 40 would be in comparison to these numbers. It would be closer to this. That is only 4 away, where this is 9 away. So I'm going to say it's right about here. So I'm thinking of this distance, well, for it. So I would say, oh no, we're not doing. So it's between 6 and 7. I was trying to estimate it already. I was jumping ahead. So it's right here. So it's between 6 and 7. Square root of 85. Okay. Well, no number times itself gets you 85. But if I look at my chart and think back, 81 is pretty close. 81 is 9. And 100 is pretty close. That's 10. These 2 numbers need to be in order. So the square root of 85 would be right in between those 2, because here's where 85 would be. And so this is between 9 and 10. I would think a little bit closer to 9 if I was trying to estimate the decimal. 250. Okay, so 250 is close to 256. It's a little smaller than that. And it's bigger than this. So the square root of 225 is 15, and the square root of 256 is 16. And so what 250 would be way over here, really close to that. So I mean, it's, if I was trying to estimate the decimal, it would be really close to 16. But the answer for what is it's between 15 and 16. Okay, so down here is the hardest level of this. Pause the video and rewrite this if you need. It says estimate to one decimal place each square root. So I am looking for the square root of 40. I think we did this one earlier. The square root of 36 is 6. The square root of 49, the next larger one, is 7. And 40 would be right about here. And so it's in between 6 and 7. It's larger than 6, but it's not quite 7. And I wouldn't say it's in the middle at 6.5. So I would guesstimate this one at about 6.3. If this is 6.5 and the dead center of those two numbers, this, I can kind of go ahead and check it. You're just trying to get close. So the square root of 40, let's see how close I got. Oh, it was 6.32. So I was pretty close just by thinking of where the square root of 36, square root of 40, and the square root of 49 is. Let's see how I do on the next one. I promise I haven't cheated and done these ahead of time. So 200 is not a square root. So what is close? Okay, well, close is 196. That's a little bit smaller. That's 14. And 225 is larger, and 200 would be way closer to here. So, I mean, it's really close because this is off by 4 and this is off by 25. I don't know. I mean, this is close. I'm almost thinking 4.1, 14.1, or 14.2 because there's 14.5. I don't know. I'm going to say 14.1, but it might be 14.2. I'm just guesstimating or estimating. So let me try it on a calculator. Square root of 200. Let's see. And it says 14.14. So I was pretty close. Yeah. That is the backup video for today. Have a good day.